In today's video, I'm counting down the top 40 most expensive PSA 10 base rookie cards of all time. Some of them are sure to surprise you. Some of them you might have in boxes or binders from your childhood. And if you do, you're gonna wanna go dig them out. Let's data dive. Hey everyone, welcome back to another Market Movers video. My name is Tyler Nethercott, better known as Teapot, live on the shop floor at Cards HQ, surrounded by the value bins, but we're looking at cards that you'd be hard pressed to find sitting in a value bin because we're counting down the top 40 most expensive PSA 10 base rookie cards. This is going to be a really exciting video, just a countdown format, give you some fun suspense, and I'm sure there's going to be a few cards in here that you didn't see coming. So let's get right into the countdown. All right, at number 40, it is the Ray Borg 1980 O-Pee-Chee number 140 PSA 10 Pop 36, last sale on May 22nd of 2025 for $9,900. There have been just 3 sales of this card in the last year with an average sales price of $9,034, and that $9,900 is the most expensive recent sale. At number 39, it's the Steve Young 1984 Topps USFL number 52 base PSA 10 Pop 30. Great photo of his arms crossed out on the field, very iconic image pose, and that card last sold last December 8th of 2024 for $10,200. Just 2 sales of this card in the last year, with the average price being $11,400. That card sold last year in October for $12,600. That's our card number 39. At number 38, it's the Tom Brady 2000 SPX number 130. This is a base card, serial numbered as a base card to 1350, and there's only 113 of these in PSA 10 condition. Just 2 sales in the last year with an average sales price of $10,400. The high water mark came last October at $10,600, with the most recent sale at $10,200. At number 37, it's Mario Lemieux, his 1985 Topps number 9 base rookie card, PSA 10, Pop 79. This card last sold for $10,500 on May 22nd, with one other sale happening during the middle of the year last year for $9,907, and finally a sale last October for $9,100. There's 3 sales in the last year. That's card number 37. At number 36, more hockey. It's Mark Messier this time, his 1980 O-Pee-Chee card number 289, base PSA 10, Pop 46. Just 2 sales of this card in the last year, both recently. One on May 29th for $10,800, and the other one just a week prior on May 22nd for $12,600. All right, at number 35, I bet you didn't see this one coming. It is Princess Leia Organa, her rookie card. It's her first card. Is it a rookie? Who knows? But we're going to say that it is. It's from 1977 Topps number 5, base PSA 10. Just 15 of these in PSA 10 condition, and unsurprisingly, only 1 has sold in the last year. That sale recently on May 11th for $10,900. Let's see what other non-sports athletes, players, characters might be on this list. At number 34, it's Dan Fouts, the 1975 Topps number 367 base PSA 10 Pop 33. This card, again, only 1 sale in the last year, this time back in December on December 8th for $11,400. All right, at number 33, another one that might have caught you off guard. That's the Dwayne Johnson 1994 Miami Bumblebee base PSA 10. Pop 33 in PSA 10 condition, with, again, just 1 sale in the last year on November 25th of last year for $11,600. Now, you might know him as The Rock, but before his days in the WWE, he was a football player, played defensive tackle for the U, and he's at number 33. All right, at number 32, it's Moses Malone, perhaps one of the most underrated players of all time. 1975 Topps number 254, base PSA 10, Pop 39. Last sale on March 18 for $14,700, and surprisingly, 8 sales of this card in the last year at just Pop 39. That's quite a few. And the average sales price over that time frame, $18,400, with a high watermark of $26,400. At number 31, it's Johnny McCarthy, his 1961 Fleer number 30 base PSA 10 Pop 3. Pop 3, last sale, April 24 of 2025 for $15,000. You don't always have to be the most well-known player of all time to have very expensive cards, especially when it's vintage early basketball 1961, when there are only 3 of them in existence. At number 30, we're back to Tom Brady. This time it's his 2000 Donruss number 230 base card, serial number to 1325 in PSA 10 condition, just pop 22. This card is only sold one time in the last 365 days for $15,000. I have a feeling we're going to see more Bradys on this list. Let's see where else they pop up. Well, speaking of Mr. Brady, he's back at number 29, and this time it's his 2000 Leaf Limited number 378. This card base numbered to 350 in PSA 10, pop 16, one sale in the last 365 days for $15,300. All right, at number 28, it's Tony Esposito, his 1969 O-Pee-Chee number 138 base PSA 10, pop 2. One of those sold in the last year, last July, in fact, for $16,800. All right, at number 27, it's Tom Brady, once again, his 2000 playoff absolute number 195 base card, number to 3000, PSA 10 condition, just 2 sales in the last year, with a most recent sale and a high water mark of $17,500 on April 25th. At number 26, it's Mark McGwire, the 1985 Topps Tiffany number 401 base card from the USA baseball team, PSA 10 condition, pop 35. This card, one sale in the last year for $17,700 back in February. Now, some, I guess, will say in the comments that this is not a base card. Maybe they consider it something else from Topps Tiffany. This is how we're counting it down. We're treating it as a base card. I remember when documentaries used to majorly move the needle on card prices, and this is one of those cards that absolutely popped off when Long Gone Summer, the documentary, came off a few years ago. Let's move on to the next card. All right, at number 25, it is Tom Meschery, his 1961 Fleer, number 31, base PSA 10, pop 6, one sale in the last year on December 8th for $20,400. At number 24, it's Barry Bonds, arguably the greatest baseball player of all time, his 1987 O-Pee-Chee number 320, base PSA 10, most recently sold in December for $21,100, with an average sales price on 3 sales in the last year of $17,600. We saw McGwire, we see Bonds. Do you collect steroid-era players who were, guilty of maybe hitting the juice? Let me know down in the comments below. At number 23, it's Jeff Malone, his 1986 Fleer, number 67, base PSA 10, pop 67, one sale in the last year for $22,800 in February. A lot of PSA 10 set collectors or set collecting chasers of this set. No surprise to only see one of these surface in the last year with a huge premium. At number 22, it's Kobe Bryant. We finally see a Kobe. It's his 1996 Skybox EX2000 number 30. Base card, PSA 10, pop 24. Yes, this is a base card, even though it looks insanely cool. One of my favorite base sets of all time. You hold it up, you see the clouds. Absolutely beautiful card. And of course, you could get the credentials parallels out of this set for the first time that year. And only one sale in the last year in PSA 10 condition. These are a tough grade, and that sale was in October for $23,400. At number 21, it's Artis Gilmore, his 1972 Topps number 180 base PSA 10, pop 14, just one sale, last August 26th for $25,200. At number 20, it's Mel Daniels, the 1971 Topps number 195 base PSA 10, pop 2 on this card, one sale in the last year, again on December 8th. There must have been a big auction that ended with some of these cards back in December, and that sale for $26,400. At number 19, arguably the greatest pure hitter of all time, it's Tony Gwynn, his 1983 O-Pee-Chee number 143 base PSA 10. This card is sold 3 times in the last year with an average sales price of $25,900 and a most recent sale of $27,000. Now we see Luis Arias, who's emerged over the last few years as a Tony Gwynn-esque player, and most recently Jacob Wilson. Who are some of your favorite contact hitters? Let me know down below. At number 18, it's Mario Lemieux. He's back, this time with his 1985 O-Pee-Chee number 9. We saw his Topps earlier on the list. The O-Pee-Chee obviously were the Canadian releases, much more limited in print runs. That's why they command the price premium. And this time his base PSA 10, pop 48. There are 4 sales over the last year. Most recently $28,800 with a high water mark of $40,300 earlier this year in February. At number 17, it is Bob Lanier, his 1971 Topps number 63 base PSA 10 Pop 113. One sale in the last year, back in August 26, for $31,200. At number 16, it is Rick Barry. You remember the free throws, how he used to shoot his free throws. 1971 Topps number 170 base PSA 10 Pop 10. One sale back on December 8th for $33,600. All right, at number 15, it is Dennis Eckersley, one of the wildest windups and deliveries of any pitcher that I remember seeing in my life. 1976 Topps number 98, his base PSA 10, one sale in the last year, again on December 8th for $40,800. At number 14, we're moving back into some vintage football. It's Ken Stabler, his 1973 Topps number 487, base PSA 10, Pop 5, one sale December 8th for $42,000. At number 13, it's Bobby Jones, his 1975 Topps number 298, base PSA 10, Pop 4, with one sale in the last year on December 8th at Heritage Auction for $48,000. Now here is what's amazing about this card. It sold back in 2022 for $1,500. One of 4 copies in PSA 10 condition. So somebody really wants to complete this set of PSA 10s, and they paid a big time premium for that card. At number 12, you knew it was only a matter of time before we got to his airness, Michael Jordan. It's his 1986 Fleer sticker number 8, base PSA 10, Pop 128. This card last sold for $48,000 with a high sale this past year of $55,000 and an average sales price of $48,100 on 9 sales over the last 365 days. What do you think of the sticker from the 1986 Fleer set versus the iconic Fleer 86 base rookie card? Let me know. At number 11, it's Joe Montana, his 1981 Topps number 216, base PSA 10, Pop 494. Much higher population for a card that's creeping in toward the top 10, but there was a time before Tom Brady when Joe Montana was considered the greatest of all time, and his card prices still reflect that premium. This card last sold on May 31st for $48,800 with a high sale of $51,500 back in March 29, and 10 total sales over the last year, averaging $45,400. All right, now we're about to head into the top 10, but before we do that, I gotta let you know, if you wanna use Market Movers and track your entire collection and get access to all kinds of pricing data and charts like this, as well as comps for any card, you can download Market Movers from the App Store, or you can go to marketmoversapp.com, and if you use promo code DIVE, you'll get 2 weeks completely free and then 20% off any plan for life. Now let's get into the top 10, and starting out, it is Connie Hawkins and his 1969 Topps number 15 PSA 10 Pop 3. This card last sold one time in the past year on March 29th for $50,000 even. At number 9, it's Eddie Murray, his 1978 Topps number 36 base PSA 10 Pop 19. 2 sales in the last year with an average sales price of $47,600, and the most recent sale from March 29th of $51,200. At number 8, it's the last Tom Brady on our list. This is his 2000 SP Authentic number 118 base, numbered to 1250 PSA 10 Pop 98. Just one sale of this incredibly iconic card in the last year, and that was back on September 19th for $52,800. Do you have any Tom Brady cards from your childhood or from the early 2000s potentially laying in a box? Because if you do, you better go check the condition and see if they might be worth one of these price tags. At number 7, it is Sweetness Walter Payton, his 1976 Topps number 148 base PSA 10 Pop 56. Recently the investment card of the week on one of our weekly top 5s on the SCI channel. This card has sold 3 times in the last year for an average sales price of $53,800. Most recently, right around there at $53,700, with a sale back on December 8th for $66,000. At number 6, it's the Royals great George Brett, his 1975 O-Pee-Chee number 228 PSA 10 Pop 3. This card sold one time last August 26 for $63,000, and this is the big thing. We see this through all of these cards, the PSA 10 condition. One really cool thing about Market Movers, if you pop this open, you can go from 10 to 9 to 8.5 to 8 and down the list to see which ones have sold. And what a drop off from a 10 at $63,000 to a 9, still just Pop 25 for $3,480. As Kendrick Perkins once said, if it ain't PSA, it ain't much, and if it's not a 10, it's definitely not going to be worth the same amount. At number 5, it is Cristiano Ronaldo, his 2002 Panini Sport Mega Cracks number 137, base PSA 10, Pop 38, one sale in the last year. That was on October 7th for a whopping $72,000, one of the most followed athletes on social media in the entire world. Everybody loves Ronaldo or Messi. Soccer fans are crazy for these cards, and this one definitely shows it in the price tag. All right, at number 4, it's the greatest wide receiver of all time, Jerry Rice, his 1986 Topps number 161, base PSA 10, Pop 63. 3 sales of this card in the last year, most recently having sold for $75,000, a high sale of $87,000 last October, and an average sales price of $75,100. Rice, some of the most unbreakable records across all sports. I don't think anybody will ever catch or break his records. This one feels like one you'd want to lock away in the safe for many years to come. At number 3, it's the Wizard, Ozzie Smith, his 1979 Topps, number 116. Did you see Ozzie coming in at number 3? But this card just popped 5 in PSA 10 condition, and back on March 18, this card sold for $77,100, which is a ton. But if you scroll down to look at the other sales that have happened, there was a sale back in 2023 for $156,000, sale in 2021 for $144,000. It was a different era. It was the COVID boom. It was the post-COVID boom. But still, for this card, $77,100. Some collectors happy, and some seller surely couldn't have been too disappointed. At number 2, gone too soon. He left us last year. Rickey Henderson. Speaking of unbreakable records, nobody's ever breaking his all-time steals record. And this is his 1980 Topps, number 482, base PSA 10, Pop 25. And over the last year, there have been 5 sales of this card with an average sales price of $145,900. Most recently sold for $148,800. Rickey was certainly a phenom. There's a fun trivia fact that's been going around on social media saying which player has broken up the most no-hitters with home runs in his career. Well, it was Rickey Henderson because he hit leadoff, and every game starts out as a no-hitter. He's the number 2 most expensive PSA 10 base rookie card of the last year. All right, at number 1, this one probably doesn't surprise you. You probably saw this one coming. It's Michael Jordan, 1986 Fleer, number 57, true base card, PSA 10, Pop 326, and this card sold on May 22nd for $204,000. There have actually been 14 sales of this card in the last year, averaging $204,200, with one sale here on April 24th. For $348,000. Now, why would that be? Well, it had one of the NBA eye appeal designations on it, a very polarizing topic. Some people love it, some people don't. You have opinions on it, let me know down in the comments below. But obviously somebody thought that it mattered by paying $148,000 more for this card back on April 24th. Jordan, no surprise, number 1. All right, that does it for this top 40 countdown. What did surprise you from this list, and do you have any of these cards laying around? A lot of junk wax era cards, late vintage. Wanted to try to steer this in a direction to see if you have cards from your childhood, if your father, your grandfather, your cousin, anybody you know might have some of these laying around in a box. You're gonna wanna get the condition assessed. Even in lower grades, many of these actually worth a fair amount of coin. I hope this video was fun for you. Let me know if you like it down in the comments, and if you'd like to see more countdowns like this in the future. And make sure to download Market Movers. Until next time, happy investing, keep on collecting, and make sure to have fun.